Before we begin, thank you very much to Mike C. for joining my Patreon campaign. Thank you so much for the help. I really, really appreciate it. You probably in this video saw the brand new intro for News Roundup. As we go on, more stuff is going to get updated. I want a unique layout for News Roundup. I want all the different things I do to have a unique layout from now on. I want them to all have like fresh intros and all that. So that's what Patreon's kind of paying for right now, for me to go hire people who know what they're doing to do that for me. So thank you for helping me upgrade the channel. So News Roundup time, and oh my god, there's a lot of news. I'm going to try and get through quickly. I'm going to try not to ramble as much as I normally do, because it's like we have a big blockbuster movie coming out or something, because there's just so much we have to go through. And I'm going to start with the updated breakdowns for Legacy, Evolution, and Studio Series, because there's a bunch of reveals here about when we're going to be seeing certain things. I was almost going to make an entire news video just for this, but I found they've talked about these a little bit in the past already, so there's nothing like terribly new here. So let's go through it really quick. In July, our core class is going to be Scar, Swoops, Starscream, and Grimlock, so very Dinobot heavy. Also, I'm actually surprised that Scar is not going to be the final Dinobot revealed. I thought they would have left the surprise to the end, but apparently not. Apparently, in July, we're going to know what Scar is. Though, given the way news cycles work with Transformers, we're probably going to find out in March who Scar is and what he looks like. Beyond that, we have the Deluxes, Beachcomber, DevCon, Axle Grease, and a repack of Tarantulas. Good mold to have a second go around. So we'll get to see what turns out there. Then, two, in a somewhat boring wave, it's the Nemesis Leo Prime. And then Dirge repack, so nothing like terribly exciting in that one, unless you really like your Black Convoy repaints. And then in the leader class, a repack of Blitzwing, but we're getting Armada Megatrons. So keep in mind, with the way that things leak, we're probably going to see a lot of this March or April. So it's not going to be too long before we get to see what a new Armada Megatron looks like, or hopefully what a Scar looks like. And this is stuff Hasbro could already show us what it looks like, but they're gonna let the usual people command their narrative as it is. All right, Wave 4 comes out in October. It is due for Snarl, a repack of Optimus Prime, and then Sludge and Slug. So good on Hasbro, giving everyone a second chance to get the first wave of these Dinobots. So you should be able to get all 6 in a fairly short amount of time from each other. So Snarl saved for last, weirdly enough. The Optimus Prime repack, keep an eye out. The new axe that comes with the Nemesis Prime core class, I absolutely believe is going to be in that repack. Otherwise, that's the third release of that toy. And I think at that point, you really need that axe to freshen it up. On the Voyager side, we have this brand new Voyager class Junkion, I skipped ahead. Let's go to Deluxe first. Let's go to Deluxe. Shadow Striker, Strong Arm, Bombshell, and Detrius. Detrius is interesting because we know there's a buzzworthy Hound coming out, but we have not actually gotten any update on it since its original reveal. We have no idea when we're actually going to see it. Bombshell completing the Insecticons before the year is out is great. And then it's Shadow Striker and Strong Arm that are the fun ones. Strong Arm getting a full-size deluxe figure from RID 2015 I think is fantastic. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing how she turns out. And then Shadow Striker. That was a standout from Cyberverse. And I'm really curious how they're going to handle that, because in the show, she's known for an asymmetric design, but none of the Cyberverse toys for her demonstrated that. So I really want them to go asymmetrical on her. The Voyagers, the new Junkion, and Bludgeon. So I'm still expecting Bludgeon to be a Tarn retool and be IDW styled. Junkion, no clue. No clue who the next big Junkion is. But it's nice that if it has the same weaponizer style, like break apart and recombine gimmick, it's going to be cool to have something large to combine with. Leader, Prime, that's a thing that modulators and weaponizers were lacking, was like a larger figure that also worked with the play pattern. And then the leader class, it's the Dreadwing we've seen, and then a repack of Laser Optimus Prime. All right, and then now we're going to Studio Series. In August, we are getting Transformers 3 Bumblebee and an 86 Ironhide, so a remold of Ratchet and a repaint of the Laserbeak that came out. That's very obvious. Deluxe side, War for Cybertron Cliff Jumper. So that might eliminate any last speculation that this is going to be based on like the Netflix series, because Cliff Jumper wasn't in it. 86 Brawn, really looking forward to seeing how Brawn turns out. Oh, if he comes with like a shoulder damage, that'd be hilarious. And then Transformers 7 Bumblebee, so that's Studio Series number 100. We've seen that. Then we have Rise of the Beast Rhinox and War for Cybertron Megatron and the Voyager. I loved the original War for Cybertron Megatron toy. To get that at Voyager scale is going to be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to that. And then in November, we're getting 86 Frenzy, which I hope has, like, Frenzy Red. Or it's the more hilarious thing would be for it to just be a refresh, a package refresh of the Rumble they already released. And then it's just Frenzy Blue. It'd be hilarious. It'd upset people. It'd be hilarious. And then we have Delta 2 and Hydra, which are, I believe, code names. We haven't seen hide nor hair of them. No idea what they are. And then Transformer 3 Bumblebee, again, at the core class. So nothing too shocking there. Let's see. Deluxe class, we got Nightbird Mirage from the new movie. War for Cybertron Bumblebee, which I hope isn't quite as shell-formery as the original one. Because I like the look of that character and toy, but I don't like just how much it's just like a big shell. Voyager is 86 Ratchet, so Ironhide retool, obviously. War for Cybertron Optimus, yeah, that's natural. And then a TF7 Leader Optimus Primal and 86 Snarl. Really, November for Snarl? That's a long way. I know Studio Series is really focused on Rise of the Beast right now, but man, that's like a year apart between Dinobots, and we still have one to go. We still haven't heard about Swoop. And there was like conflicting rumors about whether or not Swoop was going to be Voyager or Leader class. I'm hoping not Voyager. That'd be doing him so dirty. But yeah, that's what we got. You basically have most of the year's releases just laid out bare there for the two main lines. And that's not even it, because this came up as well. Apparently, at the end of the month, we are going to find out a toy of Titanic proportions and equal secrecy. You should be here for this one. TFW's article speculates that this is going to be the Guardian robot, the repaint of Omega Supreme. But this could very well also be the Nemesis that was also rumored to come out. So, yeah, keep an eye out. We should be getting something big to finish off the month. Speaking of big, you know those new Voyagers that were just revealed? The ones that were just announced? They're already out in a few places. Apparently, the people pre-ordered first at Big Bad already have theirs on the way. Apparently, they came out in Canada retail already. This is insane. So good on Hasbro. I'll say this, good on Hasbro, because not only did we not get Metalhawk leaked at any real point, yeah, it's already out. So the people who got this are actually going to be first on the line. Sorry. We're going to talk about them in a bit. Yeah, so the in-hand for Metalhawk looks fantastic. I mean, it looks great. I love the jet mode. It's so different from Cyclonus, even though it's sharing a lot of its tooling. Really, really good toy. I love the look of it. Yeah, look, like, these are the same figure. Like, these figures share parts, and you can't tell. And I love that. I love that. Yeah, they went all out to make sure this one worked as well as possible. So, really, really cool. Really, really cool work they did on that figure. Really like it. And then Twincast is Twincast, so you see the difference between Eject and Rewind. Yeah, and, yeah, it's basically exactly what you would expect. So, yeah. No big surprises on Twincast, but, like, yeah, I'm seriously excited for Metalhawk. I really wish I had got my pre-order in when, because you never know. You never know. Like, distribution is so bad right now that you never know who's going to release it quick. Like, Hasbro Pulse, between Hasbro Pulse, Entertainment Earth, and Big Bad, it's kind of a crapshoot which one comes out first. Let's move on to the one I already clicked through. So there's in hand for Grimlock now. We can actually see it combined with Volcanicus a little bit more. As everyone corrected me, yes, the Hasbro Pulse stream did have a correctly transformed version on camera. My dispute was the fact that the packaging shot had it correctly. Like the stock photo on the packaging is correct. The stock photo that was given to the stream team was incorrect. So why would you give them the bad version of the photo for that stream when a good photo existed and when you had a proper transformation on hand? Regardless, yes, this one is correctly transformed, but it's still kind of a mess. But it's kind of like all the other Dinobots so far, because it's going to be combining. There are sacrifices to it. I mean, it looks fine. Like, on its desk and on their own, like, it looks like a team of Dinobots. So they'll work well together. They'll look fine as core class toys. See, Grimlock is intended to be the left leg, so his hinge is off center, so as not to interfere with the other leg. That's why his right wing can peg forward. So that's why his kibble there is like weirdly asymmetrical. Not a big fan of that, but if that's how it works, that's how it works. So yeah, with two of them, you can kind of get some clue about how Volcanicus is going to look. At least we get size scale. He's a little bit smaller than a standard Voyager right now, but he's got so much junk, like that's smashing together. He's going to be a fair bit heavier and bulkier than your standard Voyager. So that's something to keep in mind when you start thinking about the cost of your Volcanicus by the end of the day. Should be fun. I'm looking forward to seeing this one like complete. Still 3 to go. All right. And we're going to keep rolling on Dinobots. I almost recorded this last night, and then I just got too tired to do it. But we do have in-hand shots of 86 Snarl now. Wow. The Dinobots, like the leader class Dinobots, really are some of the best engineering Hasbro has going on right now. All 3 of the ones released so far have been super impressive, and Snarl looks to be right on the same track. What I notice about him is like there's the indentation on the sides where his legs go on the original toy, and then when we go to his final robot mode, they're gone. They are gone. The only time you can see them is the only time you actually notice where they are is when you look at this toy from behind. So let me show you that. And I see that tiny little gold just peeking up over just below his knees. That's the beast mode legs. Engineering on these is so good. And he looks really great in this shot. Look at how good he looks. Just a big old powerhouse. And I'm also happy to see that the tail is completely solid. I was really expecting the tail to be hollow. You know, because my all speculation behind these 86 Dinobots has always been that they are designed to adapt to the constantly changing dollar amounts, the constantly changing budget. So your first 2 came with an accessory figure because the budget allowed a little bit more room, and then Sludge did not, and neither does Snarl. So instead of taking away from the toy, they removed accessory parts in order to retain the budget. And Swoop is going to be a little bit smaller. I expect Swoop to be leader class, but he's going to be a little bit smaller than the others, which is accurate, but that also would retain the idea of they're constantly adapting to the changing budget in order to get all of these Dinobots out. So that's my speculation for why we still are waiting on Swoop. Yeah, this is such a cool set altogether. They have nailed these things so good. I love it. All right, so we got to move on because we got so much to get through. Rise of the Beast mainline Voyager Optimus is now in hand, and like looking at the packaging photos previously, he looked okay. Now looking at him, I'm like, this boy needs some paint in the midsection. Like between the knee and his pecs, he's got no paint going on, no real color going on except for some exposed internal parts. So the toy's looking really barren, unfortunately. Now the toy itself, engineering-wise, looks fine. They added this little dump bed to the back of Optimus Prime, so that's his robot mode feet. So they finally did something to hide robot mode feet on Optimus, even though it looks silly. But yeah, the toy itself looks fine. It looks like a very serviceable, Optimus Prime. aside from it seems like most of it is cast in this gray plastic. You can even see the shoulders are painted red on top of the gray. So there's actually not a whole lot of gray plastic going into this Optimus Prime's, or not a whole lot of red plastic going into this Optimus Prime, strangely enough. It seems to be somewhat compatible with the standard trailer, though the trailer does look like it's coming up a little bit, so maybe not. Articulates really well. Posability is great. Nice, clean profile. This is the concerning shot. Look how much smaller he is than the other Voyagers. I mean, I know toys, they're going to shrink as the budgets go down, but man, it's really bad to see it. It's bad to see that the toy is so much smaller than the Voyagers we're getting right now, and there is an absolute lack of paint and detail going on. To see both at the same time is really disheartening. So hopefully this is just, it's for the simple line, so this is just like more budgeted version of these toys, but I don't know, I'm not terribly optimistic. I think the toy is going to be fine, but I think it's the start of a bad direction. So we'll keep an eye out. All right, we also got in hand for Rhinox. Rhinox, so the original speculation was it was a retool of the Kingdom figure, but if we start looking at it, there is a lot going on that's different from the Kingdom toy, and I'm not really seeing a lot of matching parts from the original figure. So, yeah, I actually really like a lot of the detail they got going on. Those internal, like, hydraulics and the shocks, that actually works. The head is kind of hilarious. There's just deadpan stare of disapproval. Reminds me like Sam the Eagle from the Muppets. It's like that kind of expression. Yep, he's got his chain gun still, so there's that. So like here he is next to Rhinox, and if you look at him, they definitely share some styles and some points of the transformation engineering, but it's really hard to tell. Like I mean, I don't really see a whole lot that makes me think that one is the other. You know, that these toys share any kind of tooling. So this is either like a crazy amount of retooling, or they're really only reusing some internal parts, because this is just vastly different when you start looking at the two side by side. Yeah, it seems like they have the same ideas for things, but they go about it very differently. So it reminds you of Rhinox, but it does things a lot of its own way. So yeah, it seems like it's going to be a very different toy from what everyone thought was going to be just like a straight up retool of the Kingdom figure. It's very boxy Rhino too. I noticed that. It's a very, like, there's just a lot of squared off shapes on the rear of him. But yeah, we're getting a Rhinox, and yeah, it doesn't look bad. Does not look bad. All right, so moving on. Who else do we get? Okay, we got in-package shots, so we know what Cheetor's packaging looks like. And what's interesting to me is that on these Maximals for Studio Series, they are emphasizing the beast mode in the artwork. I said previously that I was worried that the Maximals in the movie would be represented by the beast modes and that they wouldn't transform except for Optimus, forgetting the part where Cheetor transforms. And forgive me, it's a very quick little bit of the trailer, and we don't really get to see him in robot mode that well. But it's still to the point. It seems like the beast modes are going to be more representative of the Transformers, more like the Dinobots in Age of Extinction, where yes, they had a robot mode, but you rarely saw it. I still get that feeling, and the packaging emphasizing the beast modes, I think kind of pushes that. So yeah, we got a shot of like Bumblebee in package 2. He gets a volcanic background. Cheetor gets the jungle that we saw in the trailer. So nothing like really shocking here. All right, so moving on. Also, we have in packaging for Airazor once again, emphasizing the beast mode on the packaging. It looks actually really awesome that way. And then, yeah, she gets the same jungle background. So I guess this is just where the Maximals hide out. And then RC. RC gets, you know, I like the core class because the core class gives, you know, like a lot of background detail across the packaging. It's a little bit more interesting looking. And again, it's the scene we saw in the trailer where she's riding on side of Wheeljack. I think the more interesting thing is that there are little story blurbs on some of these. So, like, Airazor leads the Autobots to the Maximal lair. Now I'm, like, thinking back to that scene in my head where Airazor's nuking the bridge and Optimus is trying to run past it. So now I'm wondering, like, if that leads into, like, Airazor leading them to Optimus Primal. So now I'm trying to figure out where everything happens in the movie based on all these little tiny nuggets. Oh, well. All right, we're going to go through some behind-the-scenes stuff. This is the usual, like, behind-the-scenes fluff, just to kind of like, hype the toy up and talk about it a little bit. The one for Animated Prowl does talk about the difficulties they had trying to get the original look correct while still making it look like it belonged alongside the rest of the Legacy toys. So, you know, they did try really hard. You know, and they did a lot of work keeping, like, the deco the same, keeping his shurikens from the original toy. So, yeah, like, there is a lot more effort going into these than there was, say, you know, Bulkhead and RC early on. So it's good to see. It's good to see. They're like, yeah, we're getting animated stuff. But we're actually, we are going to be seeing a lot more animated, I think, out of this. But it looks like they're going to treat it with some respect, which is good. We saw there's a behind the scenes for Metalhawk as well. It describes use the hands, shoulders, biceps, feet, back of the legs, part of the wing, and a few of the joints from Kingdom Cyclonus. Which is weird to see, like, how, like, broken up those molds are to the point where they can just reuse specific parts of it, you know? That's weird to me. That like, they have this in mind so much that, like, oh yeah, we're gonna make this Metalhawk someday, so, like, make sure this and this and this and this can all be used separately of everything else. And they really do. They really do plan that far ahead now. You know, it used to be back in the day, it's just like, well, we need this character. Well, this body's kind of close. Let's just make a new head and re-release it. You know, nowadays, like, this is the kind of involved plans that go on, and it's actually really cool to see. All right. More behind the scenes. There's a little bit here for Skyquake. You know, and there's this talking about the balance between trying to get the Prime look and the G1 look to combined in the right way so that the toy can be representative of other characters later on, and to kind of satisfy, like, the complaints we had from the previous waves. So, if anything, it gives you an interesting idea of, like, how things are broken down. So, like, when they were, you know, like, because they knew those complaints came in as soon as they announced Bulkhead and RC. So they were still in the design process of this toy when that came out. So it kind of gives you a timeline of when they work on these and how fast Transformers are produced. Back when it used to be like a 2-year development cycle to produce a Transformer, now it's done in less than a year, which is kind of surprising. So, yeah. If you want a little bit more behind the scenes, a little bit more of in-hand shot of Skyquake, that is available, along with, yes, a picture of him combined with Needle Nose, because these are absolutely getting repainted into G1 Skyquake and one of the, one of the Predators. So we will see. More behind the scenes stuff. They're talking about Leader Scourge here. This is one of the typical ones they do on Instagram these days. I think the most noteworthy thing about this is just how much they tried to get the orange light piping through the toy, and what they did to create the overall look, which did include sandblasting the vehicle mode to give it a more worn out look, which I thought was a really interesting approach to create that. And they went the extra mile because the toy is represented such a dark color scheme that they wanted to make sure that all the pins and screws were also black. So I love that extra attention to detail to keep this thing looking as menacing as it does. Because it is distracting when you get a toy that has all these, like, dark elements to it, and then there's, like, little dots and circles of silver in there. So, good attention to detail on Hasbro. I'm still looking forward to this guy, because it does look like they tried really hard to make it a cool toy. They also did one for Freezer, where we can actually see its alt modes now. And so, they advertise this as a 4-mode toy. So, you have just, like, a standard robot mode with the 4 arms and all that. So, yeah, that's what your Freezer looks like. You know, just like a demented version of Frenzy. Not that Frenzy didn't look demented already. But you also have a Hand Blaster mode and a Gun Turret mode. And they're basically the same mode. Just one has a handle, one exposes a handle, and one just stands up on its own. And neither one really looks like an actual transformation. It looks like a Battlemaster. You know, the barrel flips up, and then you just scrunch things up until a character can hold on to it. The interesting thing is that it also has a mode where it can combine with the back of Scourge. And that actually looks fine. That adds to his, like, apocalyptic, like, twisted metal vibes he's got going on. So those two in conjunction, yeah, I could actually see that working. That does make me wish Freezer came in the same color scheme, so it kind of blended in. But it is what it is. I'd really like to see what they look like in, like, they have like physical examples of both toys, so I don't know why we don't see like an actual photo of what they look like combined instead of this CAD model that doesn't really do the job. But, you know, so it's a little bit more behind the scenes on just like a really random one who apparently is in the movie. Apparently Freezer is in the movie. All right, while we're talking about new reveals and all that, we do have, I'm sorry, I have to talk about this. We have to talk about the Bishoujo Kotobukiya Transformers. So Optimus is out now. It's a way bigger than I expected it to be. It's almost the size of the Masterpiece. I almost like this. We have already made it clear. This is not for me. This is not my kind of toy. This is not what I would ever be interested in. But I will admit, I'm always really impressed by these and just how well the designers can make Optimus Prime very, like, visible in this anime girl model, right? So, like, that's impressive to me. That's, like, that's a really interesting, like, design challenge that someone did a really good job on. So, yeah, this is available now. This is actually out, and people have it in hand. Just in time for them to announce the next one. Oh, I have a friend who's losing his mind over this one. Alright, Bumblebee as a cute anime girl. I'm going to point out that, yes, there's a lot of skin going on with these, but none of them are to the point where I would call it sexualized. Not really. Not really. But, once again, I'm actually impressed, like, with what they're doing. So, like, all the colors are in the right spots. They did a good job putting the original character in there. I think the hoodie is a clever idea for imitating Bumblebee's head. The Volkswagen shoes, okay, that's actually a cool touch. The hip gun I'm not sold on. That seems a little excessive. I'm not sure that works. But considering the Megatron one comes with a gigantic cannon, I think it's fair that Bumblebee has something to defend herself. So yeah, like, once again, I am very impressed by just the way they design these to look, to look so much like the character while absolutely being a human anime girl. So that is on the way. And there's also a poll up to ask, who do you want next? I don't know, like, that's going to be interesting to find out. And I'm almost, like, positive, like, if it's not like Starscream or Soundwave who are the obvious choices, I'm really worried about what, like, Bishoujo Grimlock is going to look like. I'm also worried that they're just going to do RC just so they can have, like booby anime girl RC. But, we'll see. So far these have been actually kind of tasteful. So I'm not too worried about future ones. It's just going to be weird. It's just going to be weird. All right. For you diecast collectors and your oddity collectors, Jada Toys has announced a whole bunch of diecast and RC toys for Rise of the Beast, which includes this RC Bumblebee Camaro. If we scroll through, there's also a diecast Optimus Prime, which we're going to show you in hand a little bit. Diecast Wheeljack as his Volkswagen van. So typical stuff. Also, if you've never seen, like here, we'll show you the in hand because someone's already got it in hand now. So, do you remember Transformers RPM, where Transformers was basically trying to do Hot Wheels during the Revenge of the Fallen movie? So, this is kind of along the same lines. It's a diecast vehicle, and it actually functions like a diecast vehicle, but it has the robot mode sculpted on the bottom, just like the old RPMs. So, you have some semblance of a robot inside this vehicle that people can actually see. So, it's ironic that, like, those failed in the mid and late 2000s. So Hasbro decided, okay, some other company can try making these. Some other company can lose money on this project. So, yeah, so like RPM lives on through a third-party company. Like a real third-party company, not the ones we pretend are third-party. All right. If you want to see more Rise of the Beast, then all you have to do is wait for the Super Bowl, because they're going to have a spot on the Super Bowl on February 12th. So we're going to get I am hoping we get a really good look at some things. I'm hoping we get more characters in robot mode, but keep in mind, it's just a TV commercial, so it's going to be like a 30-second TV spot just to hype up the movie. I do like that Paramount is dropping the money to have a Super Bowl ad, because that is the most expensive ad time you could possibly have, during, in the entirety of television. So the fact that they're actually going that hard on the promotion for this is good. It definitely says that they want to get the word out and they want to impress people. So good on Paramount. That's a necessary step. All right, we're going to quickly talk about Renegade Con's Virtual 2023 Roundup, because they did announce a few things for Transformers. Keep in mind, I still have not tried out the deck builder or the RPG. I actually tried to find the RPG book at a gaming store that I went to recently, and they were sold out. Like, I could get the DM screen for the game, but I couldn't get the rule book. But they do have expansions coming out. The deck building game has an expansion called War on Cybertron with over 175 new cards, which is an arbitrary number. I think once you get, like, if you aren't doing like round numbers, like, you say almost 200 cards, or you say like over 150 cards, you don't go like at 175. I think you just say you have 179 cards. Like, that's all you really need to say. They also have a new book coming out for more, something basically a campaign book for the Transformers RPG called The Time Is Now. It's followed up to Troubled Wars from the core rule books, so it's an expansion on the existing storylines. If you want to, carry a party through to a new story afterwards, you can, without coming up with it on your own. You are going to have that capability now. And yeah, there was a day 2 as well. It kind of went through a lot of the same stuff. So this is just like the standard. This is kind of standard stuff. They did announce that the G.I. Joe deck building game is crossing over with Transformers. They showed off a little bit of that. So, like, Megatron is the Hiss tank from the toy. I'm actually curious if there's any other, like, mashups like that. Right? The pre-order bonus is also listed as Grimlock and Dinobot Rampage, which I'm pretty sure is an error. I'm pretty sure that's a mistake. So, yeah. Lots of new stuff coming out. Yeah, so there's the Hiss Tank Megatron. Yeah, so, yeah, it's the one you expect it to be. Maybe that Rampage card is in here. Maybe that Rampage card is in here. We can actually get the confirmation on that one. I don't see it offhand. Might just be blind, because these are fairly small images. I'm going to scroll through really quickly. There's Grimlock. And that's it. Megatron, Doom Patrol, Praxis, Windblade, Ramjet, yeah. So nothing terribly new. Are you exhausted yet? Because I'm not quite done. There's a lot this week. We have official licensed G1 Transformers themed desk pads. So if you need a gigantic pad for your desk, you can have that now. It's the classic box art, which looks kind of cool. This one, I think like this would be my preference. Because I'm thinking, like, when I do it like a desk mat, I'm right-handed, so my mouse is on my right side. So, like, my keyboard would be here where all the cool artwork is, and then my mouse would just be over here where all the pink smoke is. That's not very cool. But, yeah, Metroplex, that's a much better visual. I like that. Some old-school artwork for Grimlock, his old transformation instructions. Soundwave, looking like he has tape constipation. Optimus Prime, very classic. Yeah, so lots of different designs to go through. So if you need a desk mat, and I have a friend who just found out that his desk mat is unsavable, so he might be in the market. Oh, whoa. Okay, that was a fun glitch. So that was a fun glitch because this comes with an Imager GIF that I can't shut off. So you're just going to have to watch this transformation animation of a very overcomplicated box for a licensed Transformer smartwatch. So I'm never into these like super expensive like things like this for Transformers. You know, it will retail for approximately $300 American dollars, which for a smartwatch is not terrible. But yeah, and there's a CG ad to go with it and everything. So of course, you know, it's a smartwatch for kids made by Chinese companies. So big shock there. Yeah, it's a watch. It's just a super fancy watch. So it's another weird one for those out there who really want one. And to finish it off, oh my god, this has gone on so long. It's gone on so long. So yeah, so Forever Clever has announced a whole bunch of licensed stuff for Transformers, and they do all kinds of like simple little toys for kids, dog tags, rubber bracelets, little rubber figurines, inflatable characters, chalk. We have a 5-pack of Transformer-shaped chalk. Windblade's in there, so Windblade finally has something new on a toy shelf. But this is your standard stuff. It's your evergreen merchandise. It's the kind of stuff that just kind of fills up the discount toy aisle or the things you see at like a grocery store toy aisle. Nothing terribly exciting, but I know oddity collectors who are after things like this, so it's worth mentioning. And that is where we're going to end it. Oh my god. It's like almost 40 minutes long. This is, oh my god. I would really like the news cycle to slow down. Or I would like the news cycle to include enough things for me to talk about in its own videos, rather than having just stuff that just falls short of being talkable for an entire like 15 minutes. So this might be a news roundup thing for a while. So if you stuck with the whole thing, thank you very much. My voice is exhausted, so I'm going to go edit this and get this online for your enjoyment. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you next time. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.